All right, another week, another episode. We are on 11, I think. And did you have a good week, son?
I did. Matter of fact, it's been a busy week. Had a blast. One of my guys did a fight to win tournament Friday in Austin. So he went up on the stage and fought against another guy in a submission only tournament. It was a great match. And then today I've been driving around all day with my son, checking out houses because he's buying a house here in San Antonio. So it's been a good week for me. How about yours?
Man, I took a whole entire week of doing very, very little. I had that bike wreck last Friday.
Yeah.
So I didn't do any hiking, any biking, anything like that.
Oh.
We did go to Canyon Lake for like 2 days.
Really?
And
Nice.
I was able to sit in the lake for a couple days and just kind of like stretch I couldn't even swim. So I can't do nothing with this arm still, and have to be real careful. And
now, do you got an MRI? Has your MRI been scheduled for that yet?
no, I haven't gone and taken that yet. Let me take this bone. Or else we're gonna have grinding the whole entire episode.
It's all good.
No, I haven't got that scheduled yet. I got to do that this week. But it does feel pretty good, and I'm ready to go back to. I'm gonna get on the bike tomorrow and just ride around the neighborhood and start the hiking with the dog. The knee is at a point where I can actually move it without it just killing.
Yeah.
So it's starting to peel off a little bit. You can see some it's getting a lot better.
Right.
So the healing factor is great. My mind is. I think about the wreck a lot.
Sure.
I think about how I exposed myself to something new and went in. And the reason I think I did that, because I think a lot about things, and I really could have been hurt really bad. So I went in watching somebody do something that absolutely knew what they were doing.
Right.
And I tried to mimic it, but really I have no business at all, being on that hump.
Right.
And maybe in 2 years I can go on that hump with a bike that's designed for it. Because when I watch it, I really sprung off of it. I mean, I launched.
Yeah.
So I am at infancy with this hobby, and I'm glad I got bit hard, quick. It's a good thing for me.
Right.
It's going to slow me down a little bit, and I'm going to be, hopping around in the neighborhood and, going down to the trail and riding, but I'm not going to be doing anything that you would consider like extreme, any type of features or anything crazy. Yeah. I'm gonna ride though. My goal is to get back on and do 5 miles a day. Right. And then eventually get to 10. And if I can get to like 10 miles a day, I think I would be like a really different kind of fit.
Sure.
In like 6 months of that. Like, I think it's going to be a great way for me to lean out. Right. I feel really powerful when I get off the bike for a few days. My thighs feel really, really strong. And that's important. And I don't want to negate the exercise part for the adrenaline part.
Yeah, sure.
Because I got a problem, right? You can have too much fun, and I don't want to negate that part. Right. I want to have fun, but I don't want to die. I'm 47. Right. Yeah. I got to respect myself a long way on this, and not get in trouble on this bike. I mean, Beth's first comment when she saw me was, "Sure, you're going to be a problem." Yeah. Right. So she's not used to me going out and getting crazy, but that is my past. Sure. Is to do dumbass shit on a semi-regular basis, but in my older age, I think I want to get better at chilling out a little bit. And this is Moose. This is the pupper's Moose. He's a Mastiff Rottweiler mix that is chewing hard, and we got his bone on the table, so that's what he's looking at right now. Yeah. So yeah, the bike thing for me was a week of thinking about it. I'm going to go in and do the same type of stuff. I'm just not going to do stuff that looks dangerous at all to me. Ride around it. Yeah. Be there, get there, ride back, enjoy the ride. I think my fat bike is just like the perfect all-around bike. Right. But there's zero suspension. It's just the tires being the suspension, right? So I got to be careful enough to know that it's like a rigid. You're going to bounce right off stuff. If you hit a big jump, it's not going to necessarily make it a roller if you don't know what you're doing. Maybe you launch it, and I did. Yeah. So there's a lot to learn, and I did a lot of thinking. We went to the Canyon River, and that was a little bit weird for me because you ever gone to a? I'm gonna get in trouble for this. You ever gone to a timeshare? No. Okay, so I have a timeshare, We have a timeshare.
Right.
I married into this. Every time I go to this timeshare, I feel like I have to be here.
Yeah.
Like, you gotta use this.
Right.
It's like someone's twisting my arm.
Right.
Like, you gotta go to Vegas, you gotta go to this place, you gotta go to Orlando. There's like 12 places. You can start trading it around and sell it, but you might have some problems with the trade-off, and you might not get the money, and next thing you know, you're obligated. And at first the obligation's like X amount, but it's really not that. Because then you add the other bullshit in, and so X amount really goes to like, it's like $800 a year maybe to maintain this timeshare that you gotta visit these places.
Yeah.
Oh, it just burns me, dude. So every time I go to this thing, I'm just fired up, man. Like, I can't even go to this thing and relax, so I'm just pissed. And then they want to sell you everything.
Sure.
So I'm like new to this, right? So you can go in and make like $100 in 4 hours at the timeshare. They try to sell you some more timeshare stuff.
Yeah.
And I'm like, okay, I can get $20 an hour and make some decent money here for. I'm not working right now, so I'm looking at the time frame and I'm going, well, all I'm gonna do is just deny this guy, but I'm already.
They're paying you to listen to their sales pitch.
Yeah, they'll pay you like $100, bro, to listen to a sales pitch.
Really?
Yeah, the day you get there. That's how good they are at selling. They'll pay you $100 to go listen to a sales pitch for 5 hours on Sunday.
Damn.
5 hours, but you get the money.
Right.
People do it all the time.
Sure.
But they also buy them timeshares all the time, and
Yeah.
then they add the money up.
Right.
So the argument is this: my wife loves it, and I can't blame her. She hooks up with the family. She's been doing it for years. It makes sense. Everybody's got them. Everybody goes to the same places, right? But I feel trapped.
Right.
What's your take on that? Because you've been married a minute. Sure. And you haven't been married before, and you've been solo, and you've been doing your own thing, and I'm sure you felt strong-armed before. Sure. Dude, when I feel strong-armed, I want to tear people up, dude. I do not like being bullied.
And marriage is all about compromise. You know, like, there's things that I want to do that Sway's not very interested in doing, and she just takes it. She takes one for the team and comes off and does it. And vice versa, there's things that she wants to do that I have no interest in doing. And then, it's like, okay, I'm going to take one for the team. I'm come out here and do this activity with you. And even though I don't want to do it, but I treat it as like a marital duty. It's like there's certain compromises. Like, sometimes it works out great for me in Sway. Like, I was doing Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu for like 3 or 4 years before Sway started. And she's like, you spend a lot of time away from the family doing this. And I'm like, well, you should come check it out. And she's like, well, one of these days I will. And then finally she did. And then instead of it being me dragging her into it, she just fell in love with it. And now it became a great thing. Like, we both love Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. We're both black belts in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu.
It's your life now.
Together. We own our own school. Together. And so what she initially was not interested in, and I didn't even think she would be interested in it, because Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu is very physical. It's a challenging workout. In addition to, you're learning great skills, but like, when you work out in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, as you can attest, right,
absolutely,
your body is sore.
There's a lot of thinking going on too.
Right.
You're looking at something from the opposite image.
Yeah.
You have to figure out what someone's doing from a weird spot. The language, to me, as a new person, is all new.
Sure.
Like, I have to figure out what all that means too.
Right.
So yeah, it's not. There's a lot of thinking going on. Way more than you would think.
Yeah.
I think there's more thinking going on than busting ass.
Absolutely. It's all very tactical.
There's a lot of thinking.
In Jiu-Jitsu, we call it a human chess match when we fight. It's like, he's going to do his moves, I'm going to do my moves. There's no magical, like, on my first move, there's a checkmate. It's like, no, I've got to set things up. I've got to deceive him. Yeah, he's going to try to deceive me. And then at the end, the ultimate goal is somebody's going to get checkmate. Right. And then we learn.
It's interesting because you take someone like Beth, who has very little interest in anything like this. Anything like this. Yeah. And she goes to a class to support me. It's absolutely just to support me.
Right.
Same thing with this diet, by the way. So we start out with talking about me bitching about the timeshare, but then let's go to where she's sacrificing, right? So she's been sacrificing for 2 years doing a keto diet, and even if she's not as strict as I am, pretty much she's doing a keto. She has no business losing weight.
Right. She's taking one for the team.
She's taking it's every meal every day for years. Yeah. So this is This is true, and then her coming to the Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu is interesting because now we talk about that, and she liked going because she was having to think. She's a very intellectual person. If she can't figure something out, she wants to repeat the steps until you can figure it out. It's not simple.
Right.
It's not a basic, we're doing this, that deal. You have to figure out where you're grabbing, which hand it is for you. It doesn't even matter what you're doing necessarily. It matters where you're grabbing. So what's your dominant? I learned last week on just the hand grabs, they kept giving me a hard time about making me put my right hand up over. And I kept thinking, oh, he wants me to do it this way, so it's easier for him. And I'm laughing to myself, right? And then in the end, he goes, dude, you keep putting your right hand over, your shoulder's fucked.
Right.
I'm going to tear your shoulder apart. That's the arm I'm grabbing.
Yeah.
Stop leading with your bad arm.
Right.
And I'm like...
That's something. Yeah.
Whole class, I'm not saying nothing.
Sure.
Because I'm smart enough to be stupid enough to not say something sometimes.
Yeah. Sure.
And then it gets answered. Quit giving me your lead arm. Your arm's busted, dude. I'm going to hurt it. Don't let me hurt your arm.
Right.
Lead with your left. You're lefty now.
Yeah.
And I was like, okay.
Right.
So this is... You got to learn it.
Sure.
I don't know anything about it. I don't know any of the grips. I know how I used to grip. Some of that works, but if you do your thumb, if you do this thumb thing, your thumb's coming off.
Right.
So you have to do like a cub grip.
Sure.
Like a weird, this is odd to me, but in judo, this thumb is a bad part. This ends your day. That thumb, if you don't know what's up, you know?
And, you know, I think going into, whether you talk about going into Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, going into mountain biking, going into firearms, everything, you know, like, the inclination is, man, I'll just jump right in and figure it out along the way. But if you find yourself reinventing the wheel like you did on mountain biking, you end up getting hurt, you know?
Right.
And the same thing with jiu-jitsu, like, you know, you come to somebody that, like, knows what they're doing, knows how to take you from brand new, walk in the door, don't know anything, to black belt. You know, that's the guidance you want, not a guy that's just going to bring you in and be like, oh, you look tough, fight for your life, see how it works out. And I'll watch and see if there's anything I can add to your game. It's like, that's... Because that's how you get hurt. And the same thing with mountain biking. Like, had you gone with somebody that not just experienced at mountain biking, but experienced at teaching somebody about mountain biking.
Yeah, I'm just watching them.
Like,
just watching them. I'm following the leader.
They're like, you've had this bike for 2 months. You should not take this. You should not take this trail. This is not for you.
Yeah, I'm following the leader. So
not that you're not a tough guy. Not that you're not courageous. It's just that you don't have the skills to take that hill.
Or to even know the speed. So, like, I put a question out to Eric Porter. Eric Porter's a professional, insane mountain biker.
Right.
He has like 60,000 subs on YouTube. Yeah. He's not that big, but he is one of the best riders on the planet.
Right.
I wrote him a question. I said, hey man, I love your videos. Eric Porter, MTB is the YouTube channel. He is constantly building dirt jumps with his sons. So the father-son interaction makes me cry sometimes.
Sure.
Sometimes I'm watching the videos and I'm crying, dude. I'm like, holy shit,
that is cool.
This guy is building dirt tracks in his backyard in Utah or wherever he lives, right? So I wrote him a question. I say, hey man, what's your checkoff before you do something new? Right. Is there how many run-ups do you do? Do you commit to doing it? Is there a commitment phase where you got to say, I'm doing it? Because that's what I did. I committed to doing it. That was maybe the problem. Right. Maybe the problem is I said I was going to do it. Yeah. At some point, maybe you need to be figuring out the commitment phase. Maybe you need to do some run-ups. I don't know. Maybe you have a checkoff list. Maybe you have a checkoff list when you see a new guy at a tournament. Right. I'm going to wait a little bit before I explode. I'm going to see how he feels. I don't know. I don't understand it enough to know. But there is something you do with experience. Sure. There is a gang of equations going off in our heads when we're dealing with other things that we're familiar with. If I see a kid come in and give me a temper tantrum, I know exactly what to do. Yeah. You know, like, don't freak out. This kid's having a day. This is what he does. This is normal. What you're doing is normal too. The non-reaction. Maybe you just keep teaching. Maybe we don't address this right now. Right. Maybe there is no reason to address him right now. Maybe we act like it's not even happening for a minute or two, and we see if he escalates. Right. Maybe he just needs to blow it off. Maybe I need to go stand by him when I'm talking. Put my hand on his shoulder. How you doing, bud? You all right? Yeah. Do we need to go talk? Let me wait till I'm done with this lesson real quick, and we'll talk at the end of it, okay? Just give me a minute. Maybe I just need to acknowledge that he's having a bad day. I know he's having a bad day. We're going to talk about this in a minute. I can't take the time away from the other kids right now, but in 2 minutes we will. So then I'm telling him what's happening so he knows what's going on, because I'm a good teacher. Right. I know how to do that, right? So I know how to read that situation. I also know how to come in and do it a different way. If it's a super violent kid, you come in and grab them, get the kids out of the room real quick. If they start destroying their room, that's no big deal. It's property. Let's get out. Yeah. There's other people that can handle this. I don't care about my computer. I don't care about my stuff. I don't care if you spit on me. There's procedures. There's things to other people that will come in and handle this in an appropriate way. I don't have to engage. Does that make sense? Yeah. As a teacher, I'm supposed to know when to engage, when not to engage, when it's supposed to be safe, when it's. I'm sort of good at it. I've been doing it a minute. Yeah. So, things, how you learn things, how you approach things, is all by expertise. Maybe I was so excited that I had somebody finally with me, because in my situation on that trail, I rode the left and right trail before. I had dropped in one time on the heavy thing, but I did not want to do anything by myself because the odds of getting hurt are good out there. Right. So when I had somebody there, I was so excited to try something. I think that's the problem. I was stoked. I watched somebody else do it on basically a 24-speed gravel bike, no suspension, no tires or nothing. Right. So, but the experience levels were so different. So it's interesting, right?
Absolutely.
So I've been thinking about that wreck all week.
Oh, I bet.
I precipitate on things. I'm so lucky I'm okay. I'm so happy to be where I'm at with it. I'm so happy to get on the bike tomorrow and try to pull a few miles off and stretch this knee out. Yeah. I'm glad I got the 2 days, the 1 day in the lake for a few hours, getting some mud time and just stretching in water. Right. Yeah, I'm thinking I'm doing, for such a crazy wreck, dude, I'm doing great.
Absolutely. Yeah.
I'm doing great.
And you survived, to tell the story.
Yeah.
Had you broke your neck, we wouldn't
having a different.
Y'all be missing the podcast.
I don't even want to do that. Everybody just started talking crazy to do something silly. But yeah, it was a great week for me. I really did nothing, and I think I needed to. Right. I took a whole 10 days away from anything physical. I maintained my weight, and I had a meal with Beth last weekend. We ate all Saturday, all carbs, so I came off my carb gain in 5 days, which is interesting. Yeah. Because now I can process a day of carbs on Saturday and 5 days this week, which is odd. Sometimes it's 10 days for me. So I take the physical time off and I start processing better on the food. Interesting. Maybe I'm not stressing out so hard. Right. But I totally am. I think I weighed 296 today. So nice. I'm right in the as good as I've ever been weight wise.
Right. That's awesome.
So yeah, the goal is still anywhere under 250, and I think 3 or 4 years on this bike, and 3 or 4 years of hiking, and Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. Right. I think I can be 220, lean and strong as shit. Like BJJ and mountain bike strong. Sure. Lean and a rider. That's what I want.
And I think that's exciting in life. Most people when they're 47, they're on the decline in life. Where you are. I'm so
itching.
Yeah.
I'm dying to do all this stuff.
You're getting into the best shape that you've ever been. And so instead of you being on the decline in life, you're on the upward trajectory. And you're 47 years old, and you're finding ways to get better rather than, just accepting. I'm always going to be 500 pounds. I'm always going to.
I think it's important to when you see change, because this is hard for me to explain, right? I'm trying to do things that I should have been doing when I was 15, or 25, or 30. So now I want to I told Beth I want to go dancing. She's like, "What are you talking about?" Right. I'm like, "I want to go dancing." I'm pretty sure I was pretty good dancing when I was heavy. I bet you I can probably, dance. I bet you I could probably do a little bouldering when my shoulder. Why not try? Yeah. Why wouldn't I? Right. Why wouldn't I go and want to walk the land and just find stupid shit? Yeah. The whole idea of getting on the bike and I found the car wash. I found the graveyard trails. I found all this decrepit, broken down stuff from the 50s that It's Texas, so they don't take it away the way normal places do. It's country. Yeah. You see this like tank out in the middle of the country. So I'm like, what's going on here? Someone has a tank. I'm gonna take a picture of my bike next to the tank. To me, that's real important right now. Is get on that bike every day. Be a person who's exploring. Be a person who's actually getting fitness in regular, not sometimes. Like, man, I want to be 4 or 5 days a week, and that's with all the arthritis. Yeah. I want to be 4 or 5 days a week, busy. Right. I want to do BJJ every day. There's no limitation on that except time, and I have it right now. So when I can get back, or my shoulder is destroyed, but I mean, you got to be healed up enough to do it. Right. I can't do anything. I'm bleeding everywhere right now. So there's no doing anything right now except walking and riding. But I am going to keep busy, and I do think if your deficit is really destroyed, if where you start is so bad you don't think you're gonna have better days, that's up to you. Sure. That's a mindset. When I was a 600-pound dude, I still dated chicks all the time. I wasn't not having a fun life when I was 600 pounds. I was a blast when I was 600 pounds. I just didn't know how much I'm missing. Right. And now I want to see it all, and that's great. That's a great feeling. I mean, I wake up and want to take hikes. I want to be in the sun. You know, I want to get out there. This Rona fear, this paranoid about the Rona, really kind of hit me in the overdrive. And I didn't start this hiking stuff until then. That all coincided with my feet working right and getting out of the cast boot thing. And so yeah, it all maybe a Coliseum of big wave of things go together and you figure out you can do something. But I for sure want to keep doing it. There's no stopping this. There's no way I'm not going to be trying to destroy people when I'm at 50 in the Masters and BJJ. There's no way I'm not trying to do tournaments. When you tell me to go, there's no way I'm not doing it. That all sounds like a blast. I think they're going to be destroyed. I think these guys have no chance against me because I'll be 40. I'll be the same belt they are, but same age they are. Yeah. But coming from 600 pounds. Right.
You'll be fine.
Yeah, it'll be great.
Well, let's answer the question, man. So, a couple weeks ago, I showed my concealed carry weapon, and then, so I got the question from a friend of mine. It was like, hey, what is your concealed carry setup? And it's more complicated than just getting a holster or just getting a gun. So, I've got my whole setup set up for you, and this is just the way Saad does it. Like, that doesn't mean it's the best way. It's just my way. So if somebody out watching could be like, well, I like to do it this way. And I'll try to give you the concepts of why I do it the way I do it. So the first thing you got to decide on is your weapon. And I made sure this was unloaded before we started the video. So as we talked about in a couple episodes, there's no advantage of having a compact or a subcompact over a full-size handgun, other than it's easier to conceal. I do not like subcompact guns. This one is a compact. It's CZ75 PCR, and which stands for Police Czech Republic, because this is what they issue to the police in the Czech Republic. Same size as the Glock 19. And so the first thing you got to do is you got to pick out what kind of handgun you want. Job number one. What I would recommend is go with one of the major brands and get a good quality gun. Like, you don't have to get a $5,000 Wilson Combat 1911. You don't need that for your first gun. But at the same time, don't get like some Jimenez pistol that's on a company that's out of business because it makes a crap product. Or, like low-end, High Point, or Taurus. I would recommend Glocks. They make a great product. Smith & Wesson makes a great product. Sure. CZ, which is I have here, great product. Sig Sauer, military just bought a whole bunch of the Sig Sauers. Great product.
Sure. IWI, if you want to go a little, they're mill grade, but they're less. They're metal guns. I mean,
Berettas.
Yeah, Berettas.
Great product. Military carried Berettas for years, and because it's a very good product.
There's a lot of good guns. Is what we're trying to say. There's no lack of great guns to buy. Find a good gun.
Yeah. So, and once you get this, then you got to make some ammunition choices. Like for your gun, I would recommend the lowest caliber as being a .38 special for a revolver, 9mm for a semi-automatic and above. And I really like the 9mm. I mean, it's grown on me for the semi-automatic, but for self-defense purposes, you can carry a lot of bullets. They're very effective. And, you'll get people, you might have Uncle Cletus, who's like, hey, I don't shoot anything less than a 45 or a 50 cal, because I want to knock them down. Most militaries in the world are shooting 9mm. Most police departments in the world are shooting 9mm. And they're not doing it because it don't work. So they might know more than your Uncle Cletus in the woods knows. But
not only that, you're going to train with 9mm. I don't care what anybody says. You're not going to train with 45 if you have a choice between the volume, round count, money wise. When push comes to shove, you're going to train with 9mm. You might as well figure out how to shoot 9mm.
And 9mm is much cheaper to buy, so you can get them in bulk. For personal defense, I say get a hollow point. Most police officers are carrying hollow points. And the advantage of the hollow point is, as you can see, maybe you can see, maybe you can't. But on this hollow point, what it does is, on impact, it will start to expand. So it's almost like getting hit with a higher caliber, as it starts to expand. I don't have a preference for one hollow point over another. If you go with a reputable company, like I think this one was made by Sig Sauer. I've had Hornady's hollow points.
Yeah, I love the Hornady critical defense. I only run critical defense when I'm buying that type of ammo.
Yeah.
But really, a lot of the ammo I use in all my guns is really LAX bulk reloads. And the reason why is I'm not in the gunfight every day.
Sure.
I don't necessarily like to hold ammo forever.
Yeah.
And so, like, if I have, so I do have critical defense bulk duty, really hot stuff for my pig gun. So I do have a 45 when I think I might have to shoot a pig, and I put Hornaday critical defense in there because it's a very hot round.
Sure.
But, your average person and what I'm doing, I don't necessarily I don't think it's, dude, you shoot somebody with a bunch of, it doesn't matter what you shoot them with, really, at the end of the day.
Yeah. I mean, and like I tell folks, the military, every military in the world is shooting full metal jackets. That's what we load our pistols with.
Exactly.
So don't think that you got to have a hollow point to get the job done. But the advantage of the hollow point over a full metal jacket, like I said, is it expands. So it's almost like hitting them with a bigger caliber. And also you don't have to worry about over penetration because you own every bullet you shoot. So that includes the bullets that miss your intended target that maybe go through your apartment wall and hit your neighbor. You own that bullet, and there's going to be some issues with that. So the advantage of hollow points is they tend not to over penetrate as much as a full metal jacket bullet, and they expand, so it's almost like hitting with a bigger caliber. So that's as to who makes the best hollow points. Like I said, this is a Sig Sauer. I asked my son, because he's with the San Antonio Police Department as a police officer. I think he said they carry Corbon. Like I've had Hornady before, Winchester. I would just recommend go with the major brand. A hollow point is a hollow point to me. I understand there's people that do ballistic and gel test and with variable results. I said get a hollow point, you'll be fine. But I wouldn't get one from my Uncle Cletus that's making them in his trailer in the woods.
Unless he's the baddest dude with a gun, then maybe you do it. I don't know.
I want, if you're getting them from a reputable company, the gun, the bullet's going to work the way it's designed. They're going to have consistency in the production. Where I know guys that reload their ammo, while they're drinking beers. So maybe this round that they made gets a little bit more gunpowder than the next one.
Right.
And so you won't have the consistency. Or heck, they could load it up too much, and next thing you know, the gun blows up in your hand. So
especially when you're talking about the plus P ammo, when you want something to hit harder.
Yes.
I'm definitely going to recommend going to a factory for that. And I don't know anything about reloading those, so I'm not an expert at any means. Right. I'm sure there's people that reload the baddest stuff in the world, and I would just say go get that stuff from a factory, right? Especially if you're listening to us for info. We're basic, very what we think about stuff. It doesn't mean we're experts in any way. But yeah, it's a great round. I love 9mm. I think you shoot it either way. I suggest get as much ammo as you can and go shoot. Yeah. Put time in.
Yeah, because the more you train, the better. I would say at a minimum, I would go and shoot at the range at least once a month, shooting 50 rounds a month. And you can get 50 rounds of 9mm ammo in normal times, around $10, $11 a box for full metal jacket, 9mm ammo. So go to the range, shoot at least once a month. Like I'm going every Tuesday with my son, and then I'm going on Thursdays with Stomp. So I'm shooting a lot more rounds than that. But you don't have to shoot as much as I shoot or as much as Stomp shoots, to be proficient. But
go.
The more you shoot, the better you're going to be with it.
And you're going to realize the more you shoot that you don't know much.
Yeah.
The more I shoot, the more I'm learning.
Right.
I don't really know a lot about shooting. I know some of what I know.
Yeah.
There's so many aspects to it. The more I'm around it, the more I see people doing things.
So that leads into my next point, which is once you buy the gun, stop, sign up for a license to carry course. If you're in Texas, it's a license to carry course. Some states, they'll call it concealed carry course. But in Texas, to carry this on your person, you can do it either open carry or concealed carry. Either one. But you got to take the course. If you don't take the course, then you can only have it in your house, your vehicle, or your business. And you cannot walk with it carrying it.
Yeah, and I had that question.
That course.
I asked because of the dog situation. Right. I couldn't carry the dog. I couldn't carry a gun and go walk around and take care of a dog problem. Mm-hmm. And I don't have a concealed permit no more. Right. And it lapsed when I got Florida, and now I have to go get it because we're in really weird times. Yeah. And Saad has his way, and I'm going to talk about how I do mine when you're done talking about your belt and everything. Let me ask you real quick, though. Why do you prefer a compact over the subcompact? You said you didn't like subcompacts. Yeah,
because I don't like the subcompact because on the compact, I can get all my fingers on the handle. The subcompact, a lot of times my pinky is dangling. And then somebody will say, well, you can get an extended mag. Well, if you get an extended mag, that means it's coming out here.
You might as well have a bigger gun.
Yeah. Why have a subcompact then if I'm going to get an extended mag? So
I agree.
So the compact, all my fingers are on the gun. So that is a win for me.
Yeah, and they're starting to realize, like the gun Glock submitted for the U.S. Army test was a Glock 19 slide on a Glock 17 grip. Mm-hmm. So they call it the 43X, I believe, or something like that, 45X. And so that is the full-size grip. Right. So you have control on the short barrel. And that's a really interesting concept. I love that idea.
Yeah.
Personally.
Yeah, I don't. Because when you conceal, the grip is the hardest thing to conceal. The barrel just goes down your pants. So, and I'll show you when I put my gear together, you'll still see the grip. If you're staring at me, you're still going to see it. But once you get the gun, get your ammo, go to the range, and start training. And most ranges will have a gun instructor, a handgun instructor, that you can pay for an hour lesson, and they'll help you through it. And if you're in San Antonio and you're watching this, you can shoot me a message, and next time I go to the range, you can go with me. And I'm not an expert. I got 33 years in the Navy. I've shot a lot, but I'm not an expert. Me and Stomp aren't trying to sell ourselves as experts. But you can come to the range. We'll go to the Lone Star range because that's really the only range I go to here. And I'll give you some lessons on how to shoot.
Yeah,
do it for free. I don't care.
Yeah. And me and Saad also are, we pay for training. We're going in November to Arizona to go take some training to learn how to shoot the AKs even better. So even though
training is critical.
Yeah, even though I think we have a handle on some things, there's other things we don't have a handle on.
And that's what makes the military so effective. And that's where I get my basic ideas from. Is in the military, every year we do safety training. Every year we do sexual harassment training. Every year we're doing handgun training, rifle training. It's not like trained you once, you got it. Every year we're doing, Marine Corps martial arts training. Every year, like the things that are important to us, cyber awareness. Every year we're doing that training, and so it's constantly fresh. So even now that I'm no longer in the military, I'm still interested in doing training.
Yeah.
I'm still interested in training with, recognized experts who can help me get better at what I do, because at 52, I still want to be better tomorrow than I was today. And, I'm still trying to get better in the future.
What's crazy to me about that, when you brought up this class, because Saad brought this class up to me, this is an AK specific class. So you have one of the best.
Before we get off on that, let's just
finish the concealed carry. Like that's a whole nother rabbit hole. But get training. Once you get the training, get your license. So that the license to carry is going to get you your license. Now you can carry your gun, and then you have to decide, do you want to open carry? Because in Texas, each state has its own laws, and not every state license is reciprocal to another state. But you decide, am I going to open carry or concealed carry? And if I'm going to concealed carry, am I going to inside the waistband concealed carry or outside the waistband? And I'll show you how that looks, because on what I do. So once you get your gun, next step, you need a holster. This one is just a Kydex holster. It's made by On Your 6. And where I found out about it is I just asked my son, because he's a police officer and he's required to conceal carry every day when he's off duty. So him and the other cops, I'm like, what do you guys carry? And they're like, we go to this company, On Your 6, here in San Antonio, and they custom make this Kydex, which is just a plastic.
Is it made in time?
Yeah, it's just a plastic molded to your gun. So they took my gun and molded that holster to it, so it fits my gun perfectly.
Beautiful.
And it's an inside the waistband. The next most important step, and this is critical, is getting the right belt. You do not want to have your Beretta with your custom holster on your J.C. Penney Montgomery Ward belt. Like, just because those belts aren't designed to support it. And if you notice my belt, like, you notice how it's not sagging? If you try that with your J.C. Penney belt, it's going to be hanging down here. It's not going to sag because these gun belts are designed to support it.
Yeah. So
this company is called Next Belt. And I like their belt because it's like a ratchet system. Really cool setup. So what I do is I take my belt, run it through your stuff. Make sure you see this. Run it through. What I like about the Next Belt is it's a ratchet system vise, like just a hole in leather. So when I come through, you can hear it click. So I can adjust it to 1/4 inch to be super tight or loosen it. Then take my holster. I prefer inside the waistband for concealed carry. And I hook my holster up. Then the gun, which as I said is unloaded, but it would be loaded when I put it in, and it's here. So now, and they call this the 3 o'clock position. Some people carry here. I do not, because accidental discharges happen and you do not want to shoot yourself in the groin or the private areas. And I don't know why somebody would carry it in the back. So 3 o'clock position, same position that, like, if you was in the military, this is where your gun would be. Or if you was a police officer on your duty holster, this is where your gun would be. So then my shirt goes over, and it's not that if you look hard enough, you might still see the outline, but in Texas, they call it printing. That's not a problem. It's okay that I could have a cannon here and people could look and be like, oh yeah, you're printing, but I can conceal carry or open carry. But for concealed carry, there's no requirement for it to be like, I studied it with the microscope. I can't see if you have a gun. It's like, if you look hard enough, yeah, you can see. But with this black shirt, when I'm walking, my hands to my side, you don't see it. Or if you do, it's not a big deal. Here in Texas, it's not a big deal. If you're in one of those states like California, New York, Chicago, it's a big deal, and you need to research their laws.
You're not even getting a gun permit in those places for the main part.
So now to the next most important thing. Not even the next. This may be, I don't want to say one thing is more important than the other, but this last step, and I have to thank the people at Lone Star Gun Range, because I went to their class, and they had these lawyers come in, well, one or two, came in, and they represented the Texas law shit, and they were selling insurance to the class if we was interested. I think it was like $10 or $11 a month, that they would provide you a lawyer for the extent of your trials including the trial, the appeals, the whole 9 yards, including civil, criminal, and civil trials. It's all covered under this insurance that you're buying from. $10, $11 a month. At first I heard it, I was like, it's another scam, trying to sell me some insurance that I don't need. But the more I thought about it, I said, man, you know what? Lawyer fees can be incredibly expensive. And they estimate that if you shoot somebody, your legal fees could be in excess of $30,000.
Oh, yeah.
And I don't have $30,000. And then you say, well, I'm only going to shoot somebody. Because in my mind, I'm like, I rarely conceal carry. Because as I mentioned maybe 3 or 4 episodes, the only time I conceal carry is when I'm walking my dog, like at midnight, 1 in the morning. And it's like, I live in a very safe neighborhood, but, it's just like sometimes weird things happen. And especially with current climate, I'm like, you know what? I'll conceal carry during that time. Daylight, I rarely ever conceal carry. So, go back to the insurance. So I'm like, why would I need it? I went ahead and got the insurance. But then, I watched this recent incident with the couple that came out of their house with their firearms.
McCluskey's.
Yeah, in Missouri. So, the Attorney General of the United States has already said they're within their legal rights to do what they did. The Attorney General for the state of Missouri has come out and said they were within their legal rights to do what they did. The governor of Missouri has come out and said, I will pardon them if they get tried and convicted because they were within their legal rights to do what they did. However, the district attorney, and I think in Missouri they don't call him a district attorney, they got some other crazy name. But for all intents and purposes, the district attorney in St. Louis has charged them. So, everybody realizes that this is going to be a futile case. They're not going to be able to convict this couple. However, this couple is going to have to pay those legal expenses.
Yeah.
So, even if it's an cut and dried, somebody storms into Stomp's house right now, guns a blazing.
Don't do it.
Stomp gets his AK-47, shoots the guy dead, or shoots a couple guys dead.
Yeah,
It could be like Scarface, with Al Pacino in the movie, except we don't have the cocaine, and you're just shooting up all these guys, and then unlike Al Pacino, hopefully we win. And you said, well, man, that's cut and dried. Like these guys came in, they were trying to kill him, and Stomp and Sod defended their lives. That district attorney may still indict you.
Yeah, you don't know.
And take you to court. Even though everything in the Castle Doctrine and all the legal experts say Stomp and Sod were within their legal rights to do what they did. There's no arrest needs to be made, no trial. But if that district attorney is overly aggressive, maybe they got a political agenda, whatever, and they decide to take you to trial, you're going to need legal representation. And so then when I weighed it all out, I said, well, shoot, man, they're only asking for $10 or $11 a month.
Yeah, it's like insurance.
And I spend more than that on Spotify to listen to music, because I like to find my songs from the 60s and 70s and 80s that just don't come on the radio anymore.
That's awesome. So
I spend more than that.
I didn't know you were a music guy.
Yeah, I don't listen to a whole lot, but when I do, it's worth,
Yeah.
I think I pay about $15 a month for Spotify. So I'm like, if I can spend $15 a month for Spotify, I can spend $10, $11 for this insurance for a lawyer that hopefully I never need. But even as in the case of the McCloskeys, they didn't shoot anybody. They just came out, they displayed their gun, they said, hey man, like...
It was a little bit wild, but just because they didn't do what we would do doesn't mean they did anything wrong.
Right.
Other than basic firearm mishandling. But they're under pressure. I'm not going to give anyone a hard time for anything like that.
You got hundreds of people out there.
Yeah, hundreds.
And then with all the things that we've seen on TV, I totally understand what they did and in their position. And as I said a couple episodes before, these two people came out barefoot. Like, they didn't plan to come out. They weren't in their tactical gear. They didn't have, like, their vest or their boots. They were barefoot on a Sunday.
Weird, very weird situation. Yeah. And I think we're amongst weird situations a lot right now.
Yeah.
And I typically don't carry because I'm under the... I'll tell you my take on carry real quick and what I do right now. I don't carry a gun because I know it's going to cost you $70,000 if it doesn't go right. I know you're going to end up in jail for a little bit. Right. So my thought on personal security and my take on it is if I'm at Circle K and someone gets robbed, and I have a gun, I might do something with the gun.
Yeah.
I could hit somebody in the parking lot. It opens me up to all kinds of problems. If I don't have a gun and I'm just sitting there getting my drink, and I have like a big badass knife on me, which I always do, and someone wants to come up and accost me, then they're going to have a problem, and we're within hand distance anyways. I think a knife's a pretty good leverage point at that point. I don't want to have a gun necessarily in general on me, especially when I think about the legality, the cost benefit of what could happen if it goes wrong. Cost benefit's important to me, right? So I do all the math. But nowadays we got people stopping you on highways and stuff, and all kinds of really weird stuff going on. And when I do carry a gun, I just keep one in the bag. And this is my normal, go to my car, take a gun with me, have a gun in the car, and then when I get out of the car, I just put this in the trunk. Now, I don't have a gun on me when I'm walking around town or nothing, but I do have a gun sort of on me when I'm in the car. And when I go back into my house, I have a gun on me. And what I keep in here is, and this is a big gun, and this is, I don't really have concealed guns really. I have like a full-size Glock 34, and it has an RMR and a flashlight and a 17-round mag, and that's in there. And then if it gets real crazy, you just go in here, and at the bottom of here, there's 2 of these 33-round sticks. So it's not a lot, but it's enough, and it's in a tiny bag, and I can take it everywhere legal. And as long as I'm and everything's in a holster, if someone wants to ask me, I give that to a cop and say, hey, there's a gun in this bag. There you go, buddy. You might want to control that while you're interviewing me. And then he's going to go, thank you. And then everyone's going to know what's up.
Yeah, and Stomp is so smart about that, because if you're not concealed carrying like I am, with a compact, he's got a full-size gun in there. His gun option is going to be more effective if he has to shoot than mine is, because, as we said in a couple episodes ago, compacts are not going to be as accurate as a full-size gun. Same models, and like I said, you may find some world champion shooter, and he can shoot a subcompact gun better than me and Stomp can shoot a full-size gun. But what I guarantee you is, he cannot shoot that subcompact gun better than he shoots a full-size gun.
Right.
That's just an undisputable
and
fact.
that Glock 34 is an inch bigger than the 17. It has the RMR red dot sight on it. It has a 800 lumen flashlight on it. It's designed to just blind anybody that's in front of it. It's absolutely what I would go to.
It's an amazing one.
For a go-to-war gun.
Yeah.
It's not my hunting gun.
Right.
It's not for the pigs.
Right.
I need something a little heavier for pigs.
Sure.
45 is for my pigs. But if I have to shoot a person, that's what that's for, man. I'm 9mm Glock 34 all day. Right. And when I get a concealed permit, maybe I buy a gun that's smaller. Right. Maybe I just put this on an outside the waistband holster and just put that holster on. Right. And then I just throw my shirt over it, because in Texas you can print.
Yeah.
And I don't find it to be a big deal to have that on me.
Right.
I would want a full-size one on. I'm not carrying every day, all day long. That's not my MO. I don't choose to do that. I like to have a big knife on me every day, all day long. I don't like the idea of having a gun on me all the time.
And we talked about one of our friends who's got a channel called Brozuka Arms.
Yeah.
And he did a video, and he was like, he tried to do his concealed carry vise like the way I do it, inside the waistband on the side. And like I said, you can do outside the waistband and cover it. I just prefer the inside the waistband, but you got to do what's comfortable with you. He tried I think they call it appendix carry.
Sure.
Where he stuck it inside the waistband, and he was talking on his forum about how he just wasn't comfortable with it, and that although he thought like maybe it would be more concealed, it seemed like people could see it better, because of the print. And like, I got a good friend of mine, he carries a Glock 17. He concealed carries it, but it's outside the waistband, and the Glock 17 is the full-size pistol. And my friend had been to my house at least 30 times, and I had never noticed, just with his shirt and the way he carried himself.
All kinds of ways to carry, and just because Saad found the way he likes, I say you got lucky. Right. I say you got lucky that you found a company in town that made a special holster for you that's that quality. I'm gonna have them make me some stuff too now. Yeah. I didn't even realize that.
It goes back to asking the experts.
Yeah.
It's like if I asked my Uncle Cletus back in the woods, it's like, well, Cletus, how many people have you shot with your hollow point ammo? and like what were the results between the Corbon and the Winchester and the Remington ammo and the Hornady, and it's like I don't know for sure if Uncle Cletus has shot anybody with any hollow point ammo. He may have shot some animals, but where like the police,
if they have to carry off duty,
it's
carry off duty,
what do you carry?
You are gonna master it.
Yeah, and so I think you can get some of your best advice from the police because, like, well, what kind of hollow points do you carry?
Yeah, my buddy John has this
and
weird.
How do you carry it?
My buddy John's a cop. He has this weird cummerbund thing, right?
Right.
And he shows me this thing, and it tucks down, and it goes down, and he's wearing. He has this pistol on him in his basketball shorts.
Right.
And I'm like, "Dude, you packing now?" He's like, "Yeah, man." And he pulls out the big old guy, and I'm like, "Okay." So there's all. He's running all the time, so he has like basketball short. Concealed carry. I have bag carry. You have on the right. There's all kinds of ways to carry. I have a chest rig mount that if I thought that I wanted to make a statement, I would just put it on in the chest rig, and now you walk around and everybody knows what you got. Right. And if I got concealed carry permit in Texas, I'm fine.
Sure.
Open carry is fine.
And like you said, your friend John, like you said, well, man, that seems crazy. He's concealed carrying it while he's jogging. But how often have we heard about joggers become victims of mugging and rapes?
John's a cop.
Murder?
He goes nowhere without a gun.
Yeah.
Nowhere. So yeah, I think it's a great conversation. There's all kinds of ways to do it. What our opinions are mean nothing compared to what you try. Sure. So what we're saying might not work for you.
Yeah, because you may not like the CZ pistol that I like. You may like a Glock like Stomp likes, or you may not like the Kydex holster.
Or you might be in a car all day and you want something underneath your shoulder. Sure. There's all kinds of...
And there's other kind of belts that you can get. Like I like the belt that I have, but there's other belts out there that, companies that make really good belts. And, you could, try them out and see what you're comfortable with.
Yeah, but definitely if you're inclined to get that permit, for sure... I want to talk about one thing with the permit on Lone Star. What's cool about Lone Star, and I have to go take it from them, is they do it all at the same place. Yeah. So you take the pictures, you take they have the prints, they have the photo camera there, they submit everything to the state,
right.
And then at the end of that visit, the state sends you back your card in X amount of time. So that's a little bit more, I think, to process it all in the same place, but you're going to process it somewhere. Right. You're going to pay that somewhere.
Right.
So if you find a good local place and... I would suggest anybody go down and talk to them about people that they suggest you can train. Yeah. They're not going to give you a trainer that's not good. I would say a range is going to be very particular about who they would recommend for training because they want you happy. If
you go to Lone Star, it might be Larry, who's a retired E8 Marine, who was infantry. It might be Josh. It could be Will. That's either teaching you the concealed carry course or that you're just buying a lesson from. Be like, hey, give me some pointers. Like my son went down one day and he got a new 1911, which is a 45 ACP style pistol. And Larry, who is an expert at them, is like, man, just come in tomorrow morning and I'll give you some pointers on how to, shoot the Colt 1911. And so. Lone Star has experts like that. In your local gun range, just in case you don't live in San Antonio or you don't live in this area, you can talk to the people at the range there, and they'll point you in the right direction.
And you're going to find people there that look like they know what they're doing, and they probably do, and they're going to have no problem answering questions. Man, I think the first time I was on a range, I remember the first time I hit a range, I was like 16 years old. Mm-hmm. My buddy, I told you about Ben, he had a Glock. At that age, he took me. His dad gave it to him. His dad was a sheriff. We're shooting the Glock, and the guy had a Desert Eagle. I believe it was a 45 caliber. I can't believe he would give me a 50 cal. Maybe it was a 50 cal. I don't know. There was a Desert Eagle. No one could shoot it. I was huge. He goes, "You want to try?" Next thing you know, I'm just and I just rip through like 9 rounds of this thing, like 2 mags, and the guy's staring at me. He's like, "Holy shit!" Yeah. But I'm like 300, 6'4", and I wasn't scared at all. Sure. So I think I was like the only guy on that range that worked that. That was the first time I went to a range. The first time I shot a Desert Eagle. So the people there are excited about their guns. They're excited about showing you their guns. They're excited about letting you shoot their guns. Yeah. There's nobody I've seen on the range that acts like a dick long. Yeah. They don't last there long. the range guys sort of shut people down that are dangerous, and they should.
Absolutely, yeah.
So it can get a little uncomfortable occasionally if someone's being a dumbass on the range.
Yeah.
And I've shut people down on the range, and that's your job too, I think, as a participant, is to let people know it's getting stupid if you're not able to say something. And the range is a safe place, man. I've been to the range hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of times,
right.
and never had no problems. And so, yeah, the conceal permits, conceal carry is a really interesting topic.
Mm-hmm.
I think a lot of people wonder about it.
Right.
I'm going to be taking the class myself soon.
Right.
And for sure going to take it at Lone Star.
Mm-hmm.
And I think it's just a good thing to have at this time if you want to carry. If you're at your business, you know you can handle it. If you're at your house, you know you can handle it. If you're in your car, but there's other times where you might want to have the ability to do it. And I think now, sooner than later, right? You don't ever want this to be grandfathered or someone says you can't do it, right? So I think sooner than later for me.
And like I've sung the praises of Lone Star before, and I think one of the things I like, well, there's so many things I like about the particular range, but the people are friendly, and like if you go to a place and they come off as jerks or they talk to you in a condescending way, find another range. Like the people at Lone Star, that's what sold me on it. Is I went in and I just went in and get my fingerprints done, and then
that's how I found
the lady that did it. Her name's Mary, one of the nicest humans you'll ever meet on earth. So I was like, oh, I think I like this place. And then turns out I met her son Will, who's giving me some shooting pointers.
He's so good.
He's like 18, 19
He's like
years
18.
old.
This kid can rip.
But here I am, retiring after 33 years in the Navy, and I got a young 18-year-old that's giving me solid advice, and I'm listening because he knew more than I did on the handgun. And he's got my full attention, but such a nice kid.
They went to dinner with me, and Mary and Will went to dinner with me and Beth 2 Fridays ago. So they went out to Big Papa's with us.
So there's
just
wonderful
sweeties.
people out there.
Yeah.
So when you go to find a gun range, to train at, get a feel for the people that are there. And, so me and Stomp, we're both big fans of Lone Star.
Oh yeah.
Because they're just nice people.
You know what sold me is I went from a regular indoor range. My whole life, like when I did shoot, was at an indoor range 99% of the time, and that was like a 25-yard indoor range. And then I go out to Lone Star and I see all the steel. And I remember, I think it was Larry, maybe it was Seth. I go, is that like a special, like a club or something? You got to be on to shoot that steel.
Right.
And he goes, no, that's the pistol range, man. The rifle range is. I'm like, hold on.
Right.
That's the range? Yeah, we don't have no like paper. Like
Yeah.
you can sight in on paper, but yeah, you're shooting steel here. I was like, whoa. So I'm just addicted to hearing the steel.
Yeah.
I mean,
I love it.
They're yelling at me constantly to quit shooting fast on the rifle range. On the pistol range, you can shoot as fast as you want. We take that PS AKV, and you can rip through 35 rounds in a nanosecond, and it's just a blast. So if you show control, they're not going to slow you down on the pistol range. They slow me down like almost every visit on the rifle range. It's just too much fun. I have a really hard time not going a little bit stupid out there, So they do have full automatic fire too. I did rent a gun once. Were you there for that?
No.
So I rented a full auto Wasser, and they put you in basically a tube, a cement tube, and then you shoot into a berm, and that's like 5 feet behind the tube. So if you got crazy, you would shoot the tube up, and it would ricochet them into the berm, and that's a blast.
Heck yeah!
I mean, full auto AK-47. That was like my first birthday, and did you know, man? We've been here a year now. Yesterday was a year I've been here. Isn't that a weird deal? Are they growling at each other over a bone?
I can't tell if they're growling or snoring.
I don't know. Maybe it might be snoring. They do snore pretty loud.
Sure.
So yeah. So anything else about the Conceal? You want to? Anything else you think?
Man, once you find somebody you trust, just keep the training going. Like me and Stomp talked about, we're trying to learn more. Even though it seems like we know a lot.
No.
We've got a lot of experience, shooting, doing things, but we're still trying to learn more.
Ever since you started renting the bays, I realized I don't really know much.
Man.
If you can't move and shoot under hard duration, under a stressful situation, you can't shoot.
And pick who you want to do your training with. Like me and Stomp, we decided, man, we want to learn more about training AK-47s. We're very good at shooting them, but we want to learn more. So we found a guy that's exceptional at shooting AK-47s. Find reputable people Because there's a lot of people out doing it. There a lot of doing training. Maybe not everybody is reputable. Sort of, ask around, find out, about these advanced trainings. Probably some of the best people you could train with, especially like if you're interested in home defense or self-defense, would be like, retired Marines, because Marine specialty in the military is, like the U.S. Marines, they protect embassies, the U.S. embassies around the world. That's what they do. So it's like, if you're interested in home protection, you could get with the Marine and, learn the insides and outs of home protection, because they have advanced training. So I would recommend, like advanced, pistol training, advanced home defense training, people that are reputable. And you can ask people at the gun range, like, hey, like I'm looking at some handgun training or rifle training, and I'm pretty sure they offer that at Lone Star. If not Lone Star, I'm sure it's another range or another company in our area. Where
the internet's super friendly too. Sure. We found Travis Haley in Arizona, 13-hour drive. I mean, you can't get better than Travis Haley teaching an AK class as far as I'm concerned. Yeah. So this is exciting to me. I'm planning on taking training in 2 areas in my life. I'm planning on taking trainings in mountain bike and in shooting, because I want to get better at both, right? And one will get you in a lot of trouble if you do it the wrong way legally, and one will get you in a lot of trouble physically if you do it the wrong way. So I think it's good to spend like X amount of money per year, doing a little bit more than what you think you know. Yeah, I think it's a great thing anyways at our age to be embracing new things.
Because just a couple weeks ago, me and Stomp, although Stomp worked as a bouncer for a large portion of his life, has been in a lot of fights. I'm a black belt in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. I teach people Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, but yet we had an opportunity to train with an 8th degree black belt in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu who had been a black belt since 1984. And it was like, instead of saying, well, man, we got fighting down, why would I still seek advanced training? Because there's so much more to learn.
Yeah, there's all kinds of perspectives.
So never get full of yourself thinking, man, I know it all now, I don't need to go for advanced training or more training, I got it. It's like, no, you should always, regardless of what your belt level is, or in martial arts, or your experience, handling pistols or rifles or grenade launchers, whatever it is your experience is, you should still seek out more training, because there's cutting edge things, there's things that change. Like some things can be as simple as, Stomp was talking about earlier about, what if he's in a place, maybe a convenience store, and somebody tries a robbery. Well, like before 9/11, like the common thing we tell people is like, well, don't interfere, just sort of, like let it all play out. Where now we realize, no, they may, if somebody's robbing a convenience store, they may kill everybody at the convenience store. It may just be more than money. So maybe you don't just let them get what they want. Maybe you have to take it a little bit more serious. But things change like that, But before 9/11, if somebody was trying to hijack an airplane, the thing we would tell people is like, oh, cooperate with the hijackers, and that was the mode of operation, for years. It'd be like, oh no, cooperate.
Yeah, and just because I choose not to carry doesn't mean I won't want to in the future, right? So the ability, and I do sort of now, right? We're walking the dogs constantly. The dogs in this neighborhood are an issue. I've been chased down by dogs multiple times now. So that's an interesting thing. I'm constantly hiking. Yeah. The danger factor out there is real. So now I'm at a spot where I'm not going to take it into Circle K because I don't want to necessarily protect people. Sure. That's where I'm at. You might be a little different. But I definitely want to protect me in certain other situations. Right. So I think it's time for me to go get the permit. I let it lapse for a year. Mm-hmm. It happens. But there's all kinds of degrees. I think to not think it's going to happen, to not think you don't need it is short-sighted right now. I agree. Real short-sighted. Take care of yourselves. Number one, it's not really a simple world right now.
No.
It's not like basic right now at all.
So I think we just about run the course.
Yeah, absolutely.
That was the things with the concealed carry.
Different aspects.
Pick the type of handgun you want. decide, what caliber you want. I recommend for semi-automatics 9mm and above, and I think 9mm is just a great round.
Yeah.
And most of the world's militaries and police forces agree with us. So do that. Get your training.
And be ready.
Pick out a holster.
Be ready to be flexible in that holster. Be ready to spend some extra money.
Absolutely.
Saad found his immediately somehow. That never happens. Most people have 6 or 7 holsters.
Right.
That's normal.
And I had to ask my son.
Yeah, don't get upset about that.
Right.
There's different ways to carry different things. So
just
very fluid.
Keep in mind that the insurance, Texas Law Shield or
know your local laws.
Yeah, know what they are. So if Stomp, whether I'm deciding to use a handgun or whether Stomp is using a knife, know the local
or
laws.
A love tap. These are legal in Texas. These are not legal in Florida. So this I can carry in Texas. I cannot carry this in Florida.
Absolutely.
I can carry this in Texas and Florida. So you need to know what's going on.
Right.
You need to know what you're able to do, what you're comfortable with. And I think having something like this on me is a huge detergent.
Sure.
Especially if you wear it open on the side.
Yeah.
And then if you don't want them to know, how I wear it underneath my shirt.
Oh, yeah.
And just tucked in nastiness.
Because Stomp, when he first started training with us, in our jiu-jitsu guys, we do a lot of social get-togethers, whether it's all of us going to watch a UFC fight, at somebody's house or at a restaurant, slant bar. And Stomp sort of threw some of the guys off because Stomp, he'll come in and he's like, hey, who's fighting? And then, he'll toss one of his big old daggers on the table, bringing it out of his waist. He's like, it's a little
I'm getting ready to change for jiu-jitsu.
Right, I'm getting comfortable.
I'm putting my chains on the table, the dagger,
right.
the keys. Everyone's like, what the fuck is that? I'm like, oh, well, that was in my pants.
Yeah, it makes an impression on people.
It's like, oh, shit.
But he's ready, and, there's no right or wrong answer. Like, are you better prepared with a handgun or a knife? Yeah, it depends on the situation. Like,
it's just
knife,
what I prefer.
Yeah, a knife you don't have to reload. They don't run out
I
of
feel
bullets.
real.
Yeah.
I'm not saying I'm a trained knife guy at all.
No.
I got a knife on me all the time.
Right.
I feel really safe pulling out a big ass knife to throw down a little bit of a look on somebody and be like, get the fuck off me.
Sure.
And a 10-inch blade's gonna do it.
Absolutely.
And there's no doubt in my mind where I'm coming with that. So that's just how I roll, right? I mean, I freak out a bunch of people, man. You got to be careful. I walk around with a tomahawk 3/4 of the time. It's not even a Bowie no more. I'm walking.
And while you're in Texas, you can do that.
Yeah, I'm walking around with a I got the Daniel McCoon leather scabbard, so I can just pull it out real quick. Because I'm hiking constantly, man. So this tomahawk is necessary to clear brush. And
you have an option.
Yeah, dude. You don't
in case you ran into a coyote or a
tomahawk is way sick. Could you imagine a tomahawk in a fight?
Yeah.
Oh my God! You don't even have to take the sheath off it. Just hit it with the hammer part.
Realize that for thousands of years, humans have been killing people with blades like this, or tomahawks, or swords, or spears, or arrows. It's like you don't necessarily need a gun.
No, this is very in my world, and I'm gonna end it with this. This is one of my carries I carry all the time. I had the extra belt loop made, bought it on the side because normally it's attached with a molly thing, so you can put it on your gear, and then this is just, I mean, that to me, don't get much better than that.
No.
Super speedy. You got a hammer on the end if you want to whap a dog in the head with the end, and then if it gets really fucking crazy, I mean, Jesus Christ, I'm pretty sure I can pop hair with this thing still. I mean, this is an insane blade.
Absolutely.
This is a crazy blade. So yeah, this is a Daniel McCoon, one of my guys, and being safe everywhere is really important to me and Saad, and we hope you stay safe. And Stomp Strong, have a killer week.
See you next week.